Diddy will be sued, and I say will be because nothing has been filed yet, by at least 120 people in the next 30 days. So
those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Shah Diddy's name is dominating headlines as rumors of his imminent release from prison send the internet into a frenzy. The unexpected twist has sparked widespread speculation, with insider leaks and theories fueling the fire. Could the iconic music mogul, whose career has been overshadowed by shocking allegations, lawsuits, and a high-profile indictment, really walk free? As whispers of legal maneuvers and behind-the-scenes drama swirl, the world watches closely, captivated by the explosive developments surrounding one of entertainment's most powerful figures.
Monitoring another 2023 Sean Diddy claims tonight that his legal team citing new evidence and an updated bail proposal. Music mogul agreeing to around-the-clock security and cutting out contact with basically anyone but his legal team to get out of jail ahead of his trial scheduled for next year for charges he allegedly forced to use.
Word on the street is that Shah Diddy's legal team may have found a way to dismantle the FBI's case, or at least weaken it enough to secure his potential release. Insiders claim the defense is zeroing in on what they're calling gross misconduct during the investigation, including a controversial raid on his jail cell. This wasn't just any raid. Federal agents allegedly seized confidential materials protected under attorney-client privilege. If true, this could be a monumental misstep, potentially invalidating key evidence. Diddy's lawyers argue the breach wasn't a mere oversight, but a deliberate act designed to sabotage his defense. And here's the bombshell. They claim to have proof. Reports suggest that on the second morning of the raid, a meeting took place involving high-ranking federal officials, including prosecutors from the Southern District of New York. During this meeting, it's alleged that prosecutors specifically ordered the search of Diddy's cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Authorities claimed the operation was about maintaining prison safety, but his legal team insists it was a fishing expedition aimed at strengthening the case against him. Adding fuel to the fire, Diddy's attorneys have accused investigators of eavesdropping on private conversations with his defense team, an action they argue is not only unethical, but also illegal. If these allegations hold up, the consequences could be devastating for the prosecution. Evidence obtained through questionable methods might be thrown out, and the integrity of the entire investigation could come under scrutiny. For Diddy, this could be the lifeline he desperately needs to clear his name and reclaim his future.
Called this afternoon at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, their legal documents, the government's saying no. On the contrary, there's just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
But the drama doesn't end there. Rumors are swirling that Shah Diddy has a bold plan for the moment he's released, and it's far from what anyone might expect. Some insiders speculate that, if granted bail, Diddy might attempt to flee the country. While it sounds like a wild theory, the stakes he's facing make it a possibility some are taking seriously. Online debates are ablaze with speculation about his potential destination. Could he vanish to an island paradise or a nation without an extradition treaty with the US? Others believe he might simply disappear into the shadows, using his vast wealth and connections to live off the grid. Though these rumors remain unconfirmed, the mere suggestion has added yet another layer of intrigue to an already sensational story. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is working tirelessly to secure his release, reportedly filing a motion that argues the conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, are so dire they violate his basic rights. The notorious facility, infamous for overcrowding and understaffing, has been described as hell on earth by former inmates and legal experts alike. His lawyers are emphasizing recent reports of violence and neglect within the prison, including instances of inmates suffering severe injuries or worse due to inadequate supervision. They argue that the dangerous and inhumane environment not only jeopardizes Diddy's well-being, but also makes his continued detention fundamentally unjust as he awaits trial.
You stand and then you have a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on.
At the same time, Shaw Diddy's legal team is working hard to reshape the public's perception of the man at the center of this firestorm. They're leaning heavily on his legacy as a music icon, philanthropist, and self-made entrepreneur who spent decades building an empire. Their narrative paints Diddy not as the villain portrayed in court documents and media reports, but as a flawed individual unfairly targeted by the system. It's a calculated strategy designed to sway public opinion and potentially soften the impact of the allegations against him. Of course, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue that Diddy's legal troubles are entirely of his own making, and his team's attempts to shift blame onto the authorities are nothing more than a desperate bid to avoid accountability. Still, the accusations of misconduct by federal agents have raised questions, even among those who believe he's guilty. After all, if the government is bending the rules to secure a conviction, what does that say about the fairness and integrity of the justice system? As the debate rages on, one thing is certain. This case is far from over. Even if Shaw Diddy is released from prison, he faces a mountain of legal battles ahead, including multiple lawsuits and an upcoming trial that promises to be one of the most high-profile courtroom showdowns in recent memory. For now, all eyes are fixed on the possibility of his release and the questions it raises about what comes next. Will he walk out of prison only to confront an even tougher fight in court? Or will he take matters into his own hands and vanish, leaving the legal system scrambling in his wake? Stay tuned because this story is only growing more complex. If there's one thing we've learned so far, it's that nothing about this case is predictable. Could this be the start of a dramatic comeback for one of music's biggest stars, or the prelude to an even bigger scandal? As the saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction, and in Diddy's case, it's stranger than anyone could have imagined. The controversies surrounding Diddy are far from over, and the possibility of his release doesn't change the fact that he's facing what might be the most intense legal battle of his life. The allegations against him have been staggering, not only for their severity, but also for the way they seemingly contrast his glamorous public persona. Once celebrated as an untouchable mogul, he's now navigating a shocking fall from grace. But how did it all come to this? And what is Diddy doing to fight back? Let's unpack the lawsuits, the accusations, and his defense strategy. Diddy's troubles didn't begin with his recent arrest. They've been simmering for some time. The first major blow came in November 2023, when singer and model Cassie Ventura, his former partner of over a decade, filed a lawsuit that rocked the industry. Cassie's claims were graphic and heartbreaking, detailing years of alleged physical and emotional abuse. She described a toxic relationship marked by relentless harm, coercion, and manipulation. What made her accusations even more shocking were her claims about the so-called private events Diddy orchestrated, which, according to the lawsuit, were elaborate and disturbing in nature. Cassie claimed she was forced into these situations as part of a pattern of control and intimidation.
So the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs, this one has so many people talking, the disgraced music mogul, facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
The lawsuit also included shocking allegations that Diddy went to extreme lengths to maintain control over those around him. One of the most sensational claims was that he deliberately targeted rapper Kid Q after learning Q had shown romantic interest in Cassie. According to Cassie, Diddy orchestrated the destruction of Q's car as a warning after the rapper refused to back off, a calculated move to assert dominance. While Diddy denied these allegations and maintained his innocence, the case was settled just one day after it was filed, leaving many to wonder if the full story would ever come to light. But Cassie's case was only the beginning. In the weeks that followed, a wave of lawsuits from other women came crashing down on Diddy, each one painting a disturbing pattern of behavior spanning decades. A college student from 1991 accused him of misconduct, claiming he recorded their encounter and shared it without her consent. Another woman, filing anonymously, described a similar experience, alleging an orchestrated scenario that left her feeling helpless. Then there was Liza Gardner, who recounted harrowing experiences as a teenager in the 1990s, detailing incidents that were both violent and terrifying. As these lawsuits piled up, Diddy's legal team dismissed them as baseless attempts to exploit his fame. However, the sheer volume of accusations and the striking similarities in many of the stories became impossible for the public to ignore. Whether or not the allegations are proven, they have undeniably shaken the foundations of Diddy's once untouchable reputation.
But like I said, the entertainment industry is very, very, very messed up when it comes to, the bigger you get, the more you had to do to get there. And so if you're not willing to put yourself in that position, you kind of have to put your foot down. And so
By December 2023, the allegations against Shaw Diddy took an even darker turn. A woman identified only as Jane Doe filed a lawsuit claiming she had been manipulated into inappropriate actions when she was underage. She described being given substances that left her disoriented, with little memory of what transpired. Her harrowing account added yet another layer of complexity to the mounting legal storm. Around the same time, more cases surfaced, including one from an adult film star who alleged she was invited to Diddy's lavish parties under false pretenses, only to find herself in situations she had never consented to. These lawsuits came in rapid succession, and the growing list of accusations began to eclipse Diddy's legacy as a music mogul and entrepreneur. In February 2024, the situation escalated further when Rodney Jones Jr., a music producer who had worked with Diddy on his latest album, filed his own lawsuit. Unlike the others, Jones's claims centered on unwanted advances and attempts to pressure him into actions he was uncomfortable with. He alleged that Diddy had tried to groom him, using his power and influence to push boundaries. While Diddy's legal team dismissed these allegations as pure fiction, Jones stood firm, stating he was coming forward to expose the truth. This lawsuit marked a turning point, showing that the accusations weren't confined to women, but were coming from people across Diddy's professional and personal life. The legal storm surrounding him was no longer just a scandal. It was a reckoning threatening to unravel his entire empire.
He is now suing. So, according to our friends over at Us Magazine, Diddy, who remains in the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center while he awaits trial, Us Weekly writes that Sean Diddy Combs filed a defamation lawsuit against one of his accusers, their attorney, in News Nation.
As the lawsuits mounted, Diddy's defense team began to push back aggressively. However, in May 2024, they faced another devastating blow when CCTV footage from 2016 surfaced, showing a disturbing incident involving Diddy and Cassie at a Los Angeles hotel. Released by a major news outlet, the grainy video appeared to show Diddy shoving Cassie to the ground and kicking her while she was down. Public reaction was swift and intense. In response, Diddy issued a statement expressing deep regret, calling the incident a low point in his life and saying he was disgusted with himself. But for many, the damage was already done. The footage seemed to validate key allegations Cassie had made in her lawsuit, and further fueled the fire of public outrage. By the summer of 2024, Diddy's legal troubles had reached a tipping point. More lawsuits poured in, including one from Crystal McKinney, a former model and actress, who alleged she was taken advantage of in a New York City recording studio. Her claims were graphic and detailed, adding another voice to the growing chorus of accusers. Around the same time, a former member of Diddy's girl group, Dawn Richard, filed her own lawsuit. She accused Diddy of inappropriate behavior during her time with Danity Kane, and later with Diddy Dirty Money. Her claims included verbal abuse, overwork, and unwanted advances, painting a grim picture of an artist who felt trapped and powerless, under Diddy's control. The cascade of allegations and mounting evidence continued to unravel the once untouchable image of one of music's biggest stars, leaving his empire teetering on the brink of collapse.
So yesterday, Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. There was no Diddy parties. There was none of that. None of that was happening. So I guess right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
What truly set the stage for Diddy's current predicament was the grand jury indictment in September 2024, following months of intense investigation. Federal prosecutors unveiled a case against the music mogul that included a range of serious charges. The indictment painted a picture of a highly organized system in which Diddy allegedly leveraged his power and resources to manipulate, intimidate, and control those around him. The accusations were staggering, including coercion, bribery, and attempts to silence witnesses with cash offers. Shortly after the indictment was announced, Diddy was taken into custody, and his bail was denied, leaving him to await trial behind bars. Despite the mounting allegations, Diddy has adamantly maintained his innocence. His lawyer has portrayed him as a family man and philanthropist who spent decades building an empire and giving back to his community. They argue that the lawsuits and criminal charges are part of a coordinated effort to destroy his reputation and exploit his wealth. In a bold counterattack, Diddy's legal team recently filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit against a key witness in the case, Courtney Burgess, and her lawyer Ariel Mitchell. The lawsuit accuses them of fabricating sensational claims about alleged recordings involving Diddy and other high-profile individuals. His lawyers argue that these falsehoods have not only tarnished his reputation, but also poisoned the jury pool, jeopardizing his ability to receive a fair trial. As the legal battle intensifies, the stakes for Diddy couldn't be higher. What began as individual allegations has escalated into a fight to preserve both his legacy and his freedom.
As the saga of Sean Diddy Combs continues to unfold, the questions surrounding his potential release and the legal battles ahead remain as intriguing as ever. Could Diddy's legal team really dismantle the case against him, or are these just desperate attempts to avoid accountability? And if he is released, will he take the dramatic step of fleeing the country, or will he stay and fight to clear his name? The debate is far from over, and the viewers' opinions matter more than ever. Share your thoughts in the comments below. The conversation is just getting started. Until next time, stay tuned for more updates on this ever-evolving story. Goodbye for now.
As Diddy's trial approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. If convicted, he faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. His legal team, however, is mounting an aggressive defense, challenging the evidence, questioning the credibility of his accusers, and working to recast the narrative surrounding a man once celebrated as a pioneer in the music industry. Whether Diddy can ultimately clear his name remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. This case has already become one of the most sensational scandals in recent memory. It's a story of power, privilege, and the relentless fight to protect a legacy. With countless unanswered questions and the eyes of the world focused on what comes next, the unfolding trial promises to captivate and divide public opinion. All that's left is to see how this dramatic saga plays out in the courtroom. As the saga of Diddy continues to unfold, questions about his potential release and the legal battles ahead remain as captivating as ever. Can Diddy's legal team truly dismantle the case against him, or are these moves merely desperate attempts to sidestep accountability? And if he is released, will he take the bold and controversial step of fleeing the country, or will he stay and fight to clear his name? The debate is far from settled, and your opinions matter now more than ever. Share your thoughts in the comments below. The conversation is only just beginning. Stay tuned for more updates on this unfolding drama. Until next time, take care and keep watching as this story continues to evolve.